お前はどこまで見えている。俺の死に様か。
Was the first thought that visited the blonde head of the hero of the Fourth Shinobi War. Opening his eyes, Naruto saw a white ceiling, which didn't surprise him at all. After all, his last memory was of fighting an enemy shinobi somewhere on the border between the land of fire and wind. He remembered how he successfully defeated the enemy until he used an unknown technique. Then there was a strong gust of wind, a blue sphere, and then, darkness. And now, opening his eyes, Uzumaki thought that he was in a hospital. However, there is a huge, simply fat, but. This but does not allow the young Umbu captain to concentrate. Why can't you smell the medicine and why? Such a soft bed? After thinking a little, they exist, don't bother me here. The blonde creature came to the conclusion that this was not a hospital. Then where is he? Looking for an answer to his question, Naruto took a sitting position, suppressing the urge to lie down again and close his eyes. It was a room. The most ordinary room. However, the notorious, but again haunts me. Not his room. Having examined the room, Naruto noted to himself some details. Firstly, there was perfect order. Secondly, the arrangement of furniture was the most ordinary. There was a closet opposite, there was a table near the bed, nothing to indicate the owner of this apartment. The Uzumaki reached for his hair to ruffle it as usual, but his hand stopped halfway to its destination. Why is his hand so small and feminine? Not even that. Girly. Naruto, come down to me, the voice of the shaggy rug rang in my head. Within a second, Uzumaki was in his inner world, where Kurama, the nine-tailed demon fox, his partner and one of his best friends, looked at him with mockery and slight concern. What happened, Kurama? He asked in a voice that was not his own. More squeaky, it should be noted. The next moment he looked at his reflection in the water, which was always present here. A girl of about 12 was looking at him, with thick blonde hair that was now falling like a waterfall from her shoulders, blue eyes, and 6 symmetrical stripes on her cheeks. What the is this, redhead? Well, you're a girl now. The fox said with a poorly concealed laugh. I already understood that. Why am I a girl? Even though he served 10 years in the Umbu, survived the war, and was on the verge of life and death more than once, this did not help him restrain the hysterical notes in his voice when this fact fell on his poor head. While you were sleeping, or rather coming to your senses, I found out everything. In general, we are in a parallel reality, my young friend. Kurama said with a grin. That repulsed shinobi used a technique that transported us to another world. And, as you already understand, here you are a girl. While you were passed out, a merger with her occurred, so when you come out, all the memories of you from this world will fall on you. Kyubi warned, which did not alleviate the condition of his Jinchuriki. We were thrown here because the current you didn't want to live, to put it simply. So your soul absorbed her soul and settled in her place. The girl was also a Jinchuriki. I already managed to absorb that Kyubi, so there will be no problems with this. Naruto gradually absorbed the information received from his friend as he continued to speak. So, what else? Your parents are alive here, you have an older brother, and your Uchiha also moved with you. Finished off the fox. Stop. Is Sasuke here? What the did he forget here, Databeo? Is that the only thing you care about? For rug Naruto Uzumaki sighed heavily. At the last moment, I managed to detect his chakra not far from the battle site. He fell under the influence of technology, so this red-eyed monster also ended up in this world. I think he ran to your aid, but he was too late. The guy exclaimed, or rather the girl. Or a girl? Oh, it doesn't matter. But she felt better that his best friend was here. This means they will get out together. You will learn the rest from the memories. Now go away, I need to sleep, otherwise I spent too much chakra. And he was thrown out of the subconscious. That's the red monster. Then all the memories of the girl from this world came flooding back to him. Nothing good, I must say. When the pictures of the past stopped flashing before her eyes, she was finally able to calmly put everything on the shelves. Her name is Namikaze Naruto, and she is the daughter of the fourth Hokage of the Leaf Village, Minato Namikaze, and the former Jinchuriki of the Kyubi, Kushina Uzumaki. 12 years ago, the Nine Tails did not break out of the seal, but the seal itself became very weak after the second birth, so the Hokage decided to reseal the fox into a newborn daughter, leaving some of the tailed chakra in his wife. This helped her, Kushina, survive, but she would no longer be a kunoichi. Naruto has an older brother, Akira, who is 16 years old and is the jonin of the village. Family relationships, terrible. Everyone ignores the girl, and they are also afraid of the monster locked inside her. Several years ago, Kyubi tried to break out of the seal, scaring the whole family, but his father and brother were able to pacify Rakuto's creation, and it no longer went on a rampage. But because of this, the whole family stopped communicating with her. The girl was withdrawn into herself, she had no friends at the academy, the teachers ignored her worse than her family. Not without surprise, Naruto learned that the Uchiha clan was alive, well, and thriving. And her mother often communicates with Mikoto, the mother of Sasuke and Itachi. And Konoha itself blooms and smells under the wise leadership of Minato. A fun life, in short. The joy was that, although the girl was unsociable, she approached learning and training thoroughly. She was a genius in the field of Fuinjutsu, which Naruto himself could boast of. She was well developed physically, her taijutsu was at the highest level, and her chakra channels were well developed beyond her years, as well as control. The former owner of the body could easily walk on trees, water, walls, and could demolish a tree with her fist, like Tsunade, by investing more chakra. At least it's something, Naruto thought. He is still far from his previous strength, but all his knowledge is with him, Kurama is nearby, and Sasuke is somewhere nearby. Even though the realization of all the ass he had gotten himself into gave him a headache, and there were more and more problems and tasks every second, Naruto thought that he could handle it. Or he's not Uzumaki Naruto. Let's break through. Having digested all the information, Naruto got out of bed and walked to the closet with clothes. He opened the door, and fell into a drop. Why is everything here black and gray? After delving into his memories, Naruto realized that the previous owner of the body did not like to stand out and attract attention at all, so she wore clothes that were more suitable for funerals than for everyday events. Sighing heavily, Naruto came to the conclusion that he wouldn't be able to walk in this anyway, so he started looking for something brighter. And what luck! After 10 minutes of searching, at the very bottom of the closet, he dug out a magnificent, in his purely personal opinion, orange jumpsuit. The same one he wore as a child, in that world. It was really luck. Next, he needed to get himself in order, namely, go to the shower, wash his face, and so on the list. Half an hour later, Naruto stood near the mirror, assessing his appearance. Seeing myself as a girl was strange and unusual, but you need to get used to it. Doing almost all the procedures automatically, apparently, the memory of Naruto's body and habits here affects him, he coped with it very quickly. Tying his long hair, which now reached his lower back, into two tails, Uzumaki, now Namikaze, smiled to himself. However, then he realized that now he would have to go down to his family for breakfast, and the smile instantly disappeared from his face. It will be hard. Taking all his strength into his hands and praying to all the gods he knew, Naruto opened the door to his room. Following the memory of the previous owner of the body, he quickly found the kitchen, where all the members of his family were already sitting. On the way, he examined the house, noting some details to himself. Ever since he became an Umbu captain in that world, he analyzed and systematized information automatically. And not to say that this bothered him. On the contrary, it helped in absolutely any situation. In the kitchen, everything happened as in an ordinary family. Naruto was even surprised. Kushina stood near the stove and cooked, and at the same time managed to scold Minato for reading a newspaper at the table and listening to Akira's story about the mission. Naruto immediately became obsessed with his brother. Akira, as he found out from memories, was a very strong jonin, the pride of the family and just a pretty good person. He could often be seen on the street with friends and acquaintances. When the girl walked around the village in splendid isolation, he was the life of the party and was respected and appreciated in the village. At home, he was a caring son, always helping his mother with household chores when he had time between missions, and his father could completely freely discuss the affairs of the village with him, knowing that his son would understand and advise. Uzumaki couldn't help but feel proud of his Nai-san. However, her relationship with him, that Naruto, was the same as with her parents. Complete ignorance, and sometimes that Naruto could feel fear. Of course, she understood that they were afraid not of her, but of the fox, but this did not make her any less offensive. He found out all this from the memory of Naruto Namake's, and he himself swore that their relationship with Nisan would be strong. He will do everything for this. Good morning, he said quietly, suppressing the desire to rush into his mother's arms, in order to attract attention to himself. Not to say that he had to play here. After all, it wasn't easy to be in the same room with your parents when you'd thought they were dead all your life. The whole family instantly turned their gaze to the boy, now a girl, causing Naruto to involuntarily shudder. Why look like that? But since he decided to slowly get out of the image of that reclusive girl, then he had to start somewhere. As memories show, the former owner never greeted the family, trying to make everything as inconspicuous as possible. Sometimes they really didn't notice her. Let's start small, I decided, and Uzumaki. Lowering his head, Naruto sat down at the table next to Akira and began to eat his breakfast, which was already on the table. Good morning, Naruto, Ka-chan said quietly. My father and brother simply ignored him and continued talking. The Jinchuriki was silently eating an omelette when he remembered the Uchiha. Resisting the urge to curse out loud, Naruto bit his lip. After all, Sasuke doesn't have a talking rug to clear things up. You wouldn't wish it on your enemy to wake up and find out that your clan is alive, and you're in the body of a 12-year-old teenager. Although Naruto found himself in almost the same situation, if you think about it. As he remembers, Sasuke in this world is no different from that Sasuke. Except that he shows more emotions. Sometimes. Still an Uchiha, he just hoped that everything would go well with his best friend and that they would see each other at the academy very soon. Well, since no swearing or explosions were heard from the Uchiha quarter, then everything was much better than he could have imagined. In his thoughts, he didn't even notice how he finished everything. The family completely ignored him, absorbed in their own affairs, which is not surprising, so Naruto quietly thanked his mother for breakfast, again putting everyone into culture shock, quickly ran out of the kitchen, put on his shoes and ran to the academy. Walking through the streets of Konoha, the Konoha that it was before Pain's attack, the Uzumaki remembered old times with his friends from that world, remembered all the pranks he did to get attention, recalled his difficult childhood, his first missions with Team Number 7 and much, much more. Little by little, he tried to let go of that life, accept himself as Namake's Naruto, and completely merge with that personality. He reached the academy after half an hour of slow walking. Sighing heavily, he walked along the familiar corridors and opened the door of a familiar classroom. And again glances directed at her. Yes, how much is possible? Looking around at his classmates, he stopped at one, gloomy and emitting a feisty aura. Naruto grinned and ignored everyone and everything and walked straight towards the Uchiha. Sasuke glared at him the short way from the door to his desk, then continued when he sat down next to him. But that look was so close and dear that Naruto suppressed the desire to smile. For the first time this morning, smile sincerely. Hello, Snake. He said his call sign quietly so that no one would hear. The Uchiha looked at him a little more, then smiled in an Uchiha way, with only the corners of his lips, and chuckled. Long time no see, Lise. He answered just as quietly, but Naruto's heart felt so warm and calm. He is not alone. Now you'll explain everything to me, Uzumaki. Having dragged Sasuke away after school so that no one would notice them, Naruto led them to the training ground where the former owner of the body trained earlier. And, succumbing to emotions, the Jinchuriki hugged his best friend, inhaling the already familiar smell. The Uchiha, without hesitation, responded to this action, hugging his friend more tightly to himself. "I'm so glad you're here too." He shared his thoughts and felt Sasuke smile into his shoulder. In that world, only he could see that rare smile on the lips of his best friend, only with him could he show the emotions that were hidden under the mask of the Uchiha clan. A mask of coldness and detachment. In common parlance, a face like a brick. When I woke up in the morning and then felt the chakra of literally the entire clan, I thought I had completely gone crazy. And then Itachi came into the room. Sasuke began his story, without letting go of his girlfriend. He said that mom had prepared breakfast and everyone was just waiting for me. When he left, all the memories of that Sasuke fell upon me at once. My head still hurts, to be honest. The teenager complained. My clan is alive, Itachi is the jonin of the village, there has been no coup and is not going to take place, and my father is the head of the clan. Family relationships, I wouldn't say ideal. I live in the shadow of my older brother, my father only looks at him. Mom, she's just a mom. She loves me and Itachi equally, tries to help each of us equally. Naruto felt how hard it was for his friend, so he listened silently, giving his support and understanding. My first desire was to kill them all, then the realization came, and then I just wanted to die. And at this moment take it, awakened the Sharingan. Just now, just imagine. Uchiha became indignant, which made Naruto smile. Physical training is at the level of me from that world, chakra control is better, I know more fire techniques, and that's it. Sasuke finished his confession, and the friends finally released their embrace. Looking into each other's eyes, they sat down under the nearest tree, shoulder to shoulder, where Naruto told about his awakening, about his family and former owner. "We're screwed, Sasuke," Uzumaki said. "Yeah, but you became a girl." "Although, I always said that you are, Uzumaki." The Uchiha snorted, and the above-mentioned snorted indignantly. Themes. Dobe. And it became so easy after this short skirmish. It's as if all the problems have faded into the background. Still, no matter what anyone says, the Uchiha are good people and true friends. For so many years, Naruto was convinced of this more than once or twice. And he's just lucky that Sasuke Uchiha is his best friend and his loyalty belongs to him. And now, the two of them are against the whole world. Again. In her head, the red-headed schizophrenia showed signs of life, reminding her that there were three of them here. The chakra source was pleasantly burned with heat, causing a smile to appear on the face of the future Kunoichi. After talking with his best friend until the evening and agreeing to train tomorrow after the academy, Naruto wandered home. After talking with Sasuke, his soul felt much lighter, as if all the weight of this world had been removed from his shoulders at once. However, the closer he got to home, the more he became overwhelmed with anxiety and sadness. All his life, he tried to be an optimist, literally the sun for all of Konoha, and then he was transported here. Into this world. Now he is constantly surrounded by sadness, loneliness, and fear. And all his life, Naruto tried to push all these feelings away from himself. And now again. What to do next? How to drive away all the darkness from yourself? Uzumaki didn't know the answer to this question, but no matter what, he would do it. He did it once, he will do it now. "Here, I recognize you, Naruto," a familiar growl sounded in my head. "Don't build. I advise you to start talking about yourself in the feminine gender. Otherwise, you'll burn yourself, Kami forbid. It's not easy, you know, when you've been a guy for more than 20 years, and now you're a girl." And then he went down into his subconscious, right onto the head of the Nine Tails. He muttered something, but didn't get it out of his head. "I'm used to it already. When you let go of your past, a complete merger of your souls will occur. Then you will feel better." The fox continued his thought. You behaved well today, Naruto. I'm glad you're with me. He repeated the words Sasuke had said earlier, trying to talk about himself in the feminine gender. Kurama growled contentedly. Come on, go, you're already near the house. His friend informed him, and he jumped off his head. Starting tomorrow, you will have intensive training. I promise you this. Contagion. I'm driving. Rug. Get out already, you stupid misunderstanding. Returning from his subconscious, Naruto saw the door of his house right in front of his eyes. Using his sensory abilities, he learned that all of his relatives were at home, surprisingly. After all, it wasn't often that Father Hokage came home before nightfall. Sighing heavily, he opened it and entered his place of residence. He took off his shoes, walked into the room and saw the whole family staring at him. Naruto resisted the urge to roll his eyes. Nisan looked around his body, as if looking for something, lingered on his face, and then turned away. Kaa-chan bit her lip and wanted to say something, but didn't. Oto-san simply looked into the eyes of his daughter, and then turned away sharply, afraid of something. Or someone. And again this burning desire to roll my eyes. When will this end? Well, it's okay, Naruto, you are strong, you went through, there was a war, you won, and Jubi, so be it, so you can handle 3 members of your family. Someday. Not everything happens right away, sometimes you need to put in a lot of effort to get results. He already knows that. Hello. Uzumaki said quietly, without changing his image. And without waiting for an answer, which would not have come anyway, he turned around and went to his room. It's been a hard day, and he needs to rest. Entering the room, Naruto immediately plopped down on the bed. As soon as his head touched the pillow, he was carried away into the world of dreams. The next day at the academy, a written test awaited them, which Iruka-sensei had so kindly prepared. Having rummaged through his memory, Naruto learned without surprise that she was very smart in this world, but did not stand out from everyone else, successfully solving tests with a solid satisfactory. In the end, Uzumaki decided not to change the traditions of his past self, so he answered some questions correctly, and some, as they say, from the buffoon. Having solved the entire test, he plunged into his inner world, where he and Kurama discussed the training program for the coming months. As the future kunoichi correctly calculated, there are 3 months left before the genin exam, and then there will be distribution among teams. Naruto hoped with all his heart for the former composition of team number 7. Next will be D-rank missions, which all the genin loved so much. A fun life will begin, however. It is still unknown what will happen to Orochimaru, Akatsuki, Madara, and a cloud of other unpleasant personalities. The main thing now is to restore its former strength. Or at least part of this power. To start. The lesson is over. Iruka announced just as Naruto emerged from his subconscious. He looked at Sasuke, who was sitting to her right with a blank expression, and snorted. Quietly so that no one hears. Only his best friend. What is it, Dobe? The Uchiha asked mockingly, and just as quietly. Team, I've just always been amused by your arrogant mask. Sasuke-kun. Before the red-eyed man had time to answer, something pink flew at him. More precisely, this something jumped over the desk and pushed away the quiet Namikaze with its butt. Naruto laughed internally at the expression on Sasuke-kun's face when Sakura started telling him something about his beauty. Ino sat on the desk itself, looking at her idol with loving eyes. Uzumaki, without saying anything, collected his things and left the class, since the lessons were over and he had nothing else to do here. Within 10 minutes, he was at the training ground where Naruto Namikaze usually trained, and later, the idol of the entire ninja academy himself appeared. Sasuke looked very irritated and angry, a black aura hovered around him, indicating the desire of its owner to kill everyone and everything. How are you, Sasuke-kun? Naruto sang mockingly, causing his friend to involuntarily flinch and send her the look of death, or in other words, the signature look of Sasuke Uchiha. What about Uzumaki? Uzumaki nothing. Uzumaki is already used to it. I'll shove a kunai down your throat now, Naruto-chan. The owner of the Sharingan did not remain in debt. How evil we are. What is it? Are there really too few fans? Would you like me to run a promotion? Naruto-chan continued the mockery. Dobe, I won't even look at the fact that you're a girl. Here, Uchiha Sasuke in person and in all his glory. The eyes sparkle, the fists clench, but no steam comes out of the ears. Let's have fun, team. The teenagers competed in taijutsu. The familiar flame of excitement was already burning inside them. It's been so long since they've sparred. Here Sasuke tries to strike, but the girl with enviable speed moves away from under his hand, then makes a sweep. The Uchiha jumps up, avoiding Naruto's attack, but she makes a feint and jumps out to the side of the boy. He didn't even have time to trace with the Sharingan. The Uchiha quickly turns over in the air and launches a fireball at her as she flies. Landing on the ground, he sees a safe and sound Uzumaki, who is already running towards him. They meet again in pure taijutsu. Hit. Block. Hit. Block. Sasuke makes a sweep and Naruto falls to the ground, but the next moment he disappears into a puff of smoke. And again, the Uchiha did not have time to trace when she created a clone. I won. Naruto put a kunai to his throat. Sure. Sasuke used the replacement technique and found himself on the nearest tree, and in front of his girlfriend lay a log. Sure. And again the kunai is near the throat. The Uchiha grinned, thereby admitting defeat. I know you better than you know yourself, Sasuke. Let's see who wins, Uzumaki. It was a challenge. And Naruto gladly accepted it. The soul rushed to heaven. For the past hour, the Uchiha has been trying to use at least some kind of genjutsu on his friend, even the weakest one, but his attempts fail over and over again. And there is knowledge, but the Sharingan with one tomo is no good. He is completely undeveloped. Sasuke had already spent a lot of time on this, and he achieved the point that he could easily track Naruto's movements. Although he has been training for several weeks already. For weeks have passed since arriving in this world. And they were full of training, and more training. Kurama, as promised, drove his beloved and respected Jinchuriki until he lost his pulse. Every day, Naruto created several dozen clones and sent them for training, on the advice of the fox, of course. The first 10 clones practiced taijutsu, others practiced fuinjutsu, and others practiced throwing kunai and shuriken. Several more clones were reading scrolls, while others were improving their physical fitness. This method of training was once recommended to him by Kakashi-sensei, for which the former Umbu captain was grateful. Let all the fatigue also pass to him, but it's worth it. Again, everything according to Kurama. By the end of the day, Uzumaki was sore in every possible way. Even my hair seemed to hurt. To the very ends. The fox himself at this time was developing chakra channels so that Naruto would soon be able to begin studying ninjutsu. Even though they were precocious, they were very fragile, so Kyubi tried to correct this situation. If we summarize all this, we can say that there is progress, but very little. Almost minuscule. The only thing is that he has more knowledge in his head, and the endurance of this body has increased several times. The original has been helping with Sasuke's training all this time, which, in fact, is training for him too. Naruto also sent 2 clones to the academy every day, one under the guise of an Uchiha. Things aren't any better for Sasuke. Since he cannot use clones in such quantities, he has to do everything on a smaller scale. One clone trains taijutsu, another trains ninjutsu, and the third improves control. The original trains with the Sharingan, trying to develop it further. She and Naruto are sparring. The Uchiha tries to keep track of her friend, as her speed surpasses his. This, of course, hit the pride of the former last Uchiha, but he is trying. If you do not take into account the Sharingan, then there is also progress, but very weak. The speed is now higher. Taijutsu was already normal, it has become even better, control is much better, but not perfect. Now he could walk on trees and water, which was important. That's enough, Sasuke. You've already used up all your chakra. You still have to dispel the clones. Stopped my friend Naruto. I already hate this world. At this age I already had a Sharingan with 2 Tomo. So what? Why didn't Sasuke here develop it? Apparently, this was the cry of the Uchiha soul. Why don't you ask Itachi? Suggested by the former future Hokage. He's on missions. Nothing changes at all. The teenager answered with some childish resentment. Sasuke's personality from this world must be coming out. Did you ask? The sneezing man's best friend asked with a raised eyebrow. Or do you know from your own experience from that life that he will refuse? I can see how tired he is, Naruto. He doesn't come back from missions, and also my training. Sasuke drawled, finally turning off his red eyes. They started to sting from prolonged use, but he was already used to it. Moreover, I'm not sure what kind of relationship we have with him. At least better than Akira and I, Uzumaki said with a sigh. Family relationships have not changed at all this month. Not a bit. Except now the family doesn't flinch when he greets them. As Kurama said, progress is evident, Naruchan, keep it up. After which he was sent far and long. The Genin exam is in 2 months. Change the topic to Naruto. I hope we will be on the same team. I hope so too. The younger Uchiha smiled. Otuto? Both, as if on command, shuddered at this voice and turned their heads towards the speaker. Standing next to them was Itachi Uchiha himself. Naruto immediately noted the small details, the bags under his eyes, his weak smile, and his shabby uniform. He must have come from a mission. Involuntarily frowning, Uzumaki immediately attracted the elder's attention. He looked curiously at the Hokage's daughter, but did not find anything suspicious. What are you doing here, Sasuke? He turned his attention back to his younger brother. Naruto looked at Itachi and realized that he was exactly the same as in that world. The Uchiha was the same as the last time they met. He must be 17 now. Or 16. I'll have to ask Sasuke. He wears a gown and vest that fits him well. In Uzumaki Naruto's purely personal opinion, of course. The Konoha protector, uncrossed this time, is tied across his forehead, completing the overall appearance of the leaf shinobi. And to see Itachi alive and well after so many years was strange and creepy. A little. Although, Naruto understood that Sasuke was several times worse. In the end, the Uchiha killed his brother with his own hands. Even in that world several years ago, Sasuke shared his experiences and his feelings of guilt with his best friend. He said then that he wished his older brother were alive. And he regretted that he had not found out the circumstances of that night earlier, before he personally took the life of Uchiha Itachi. I'm training, Nai-san. Sasuke answered rather coldly. Who is your companion? Itachi asked curiously, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. You know me, Itachi-san. Uzumaki said quietly, but quite confidently. We need to slowly get out of the image of a recluse. And you have to be careful with this Uchiha, because he might suspect something. It's not for nothing that he is called the genius of the clan. You're right, but I'd like you to introduce yourself properly. Naruto Namikaze. He made a polite bow, and the elder Uchiha repeated after her. It's nice to meet the Hokage's daughter in person. Itachi answered too politely. Nisan, you're just back from a mission. You don't need to waste time with us. Sasuke said, and Naruto noted that some lights had gone out in the eyes of the older Uchiha. He's definitely upset about his beloved brother's behavior. It's okay. I see you've been busy here. He examined all the clones who were training hard. More efficient. Sasuke remarked briefly in the same voice. Itachi-san, you must be tired from your mission. And you don't look good. You need to rest. Naruto said politely, which caused a chuckle from his friend and an interested look from Itachi. You're right, Naruto-chan. I'll really go. The Jinchuriki suppressed the desire to grimace because of this Naruto-chan. Well, he couldn't stand being addressed like that. Itachi-san, could you please not tell anyone that you saw us here? I wouldn't want my family to find out. And bowed her head in a polite bow. There has definitely been progress in applying the feminine gender to oneself. She could easily answer her interlocutor without fear of getting burned. True, with the inner voice everything is much more complicated, as well as in communicating with Sasuke. It's hard to readjust. Although Kurama promises that once a complete merger occurs, it will be easier. The Uchiha, who is Itachi, looked at him in surprise at first, then bit his lower lip, but nodded anyway. Fine, said the former Akatsuki. Sasuke, I could help with the training. I think it will be better if you are trained by someone from your clan. I can't leave Naruto, Nai-san. Without changing his tone, his Otuto answered. However, Naruto noticed some strange notes in his voice that were not there before. It seems that things are moving from a dead point. I will train you together. Itachi announced with a weak smile, and Naruto, unable to restrain himself, looked at him in surprise. Kurama inside grumbled dissatisfiedly about the red-eyed ones and about the fact that there are too many of them for one poor fox. He had just come to terms with Sasuke. It's getting more and more interesting. Focus on your right leg, Naruto. Itachi made a remark, which caused a dissatisfied grumbling from the above-mentioned. Well, of course, he didn't hear it, but it's a fact. The Uchiha has been training him and Sasuke for several weeks now. I must say that with Sensei everything went much better than it had before. Itachi each time points out the shortcomings of his taijutsu, helps with physical training by choosing a specific training program for the body, and evaluates his fuinjutsu. With the latter, he could not help in any way, since he himself, although he is the genius of the clan, does not know more than 20 of the most necessary seals. Still, fuinjutsu is the specialization of the Uzumaki clan, not the Uchiha. He, Itachi, could only marvel at Naruto's abilities. And he just grinned. Not everyone can surprise the invincible Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke was doing much better too. Itachi advised him on eye training, which he himself used after awakening his Sharingan, thanks to which Uchiha was able to develop a second tomo within a week of starting. Now there is an active study of Genjutsu. The elder Uchiha says that soon Sasuke will be able to cast a weak illusion. For the person who sneezed, it was very painful. Previously, he could immerse people in Tsukiyemi, your mother, without problems, but here he cannot impose ordinary Genjutsu. Of course, he doesn't show it in front of his brother, but a best friend is a completely different matter. And Kurama inside giggles disgustingly at the Sharingan's attempts. That's right, Naruto. Itachi praised him. Honestly, Uzumaki could not even think that he would be trained by the genius of the Uchiha clan himself. Itachi and Nai-san, when are you going on a mission? Looking up from his training, Sasuke walked up to Naruto and patted her on the shoulder, and then looked into her eyes. Itachi had long noticed that this couple was quite strange. They could communicate without saying a word, with glances and gestures. And they understood each other from half a word, no, from half a glance. Which was actually surprising. Even he and Shisui didn't have the same understanding as these two. He was interested to know the history of friendship, how it all began. Of course, she and her brother did not have the most trusting relationship, but in the end, this girl was clearly dear to her stupid little brother. Maybe he fell in love? Tomorrow, Otuto. Itachi answered briefly. I'll be gone for a week. I will leave you tasks that you will have to complete before my return. Okay, Nai-san. Yes, Itachi-san. The children said in unison, causing the Jounin to smile. Naruto, just call me Itachi. I'll be more used to it this way. Naruto looked at him a little surprised. So I will disrespect you. Still, you are older, more experienced, and stronger than me. Naruto stammered in response. Kurama was no longer surprised at how his host played his role. Naruto, I give permission myself, so there will be no disrespect. And I'm only 5 years older than you. The elder smiled softly in response. Naruto didn't say anything, just nodded, but that was enough for the young genius. As far as the Uchiha studied her, the girl was quiet and calm, quite smart and capable, but extremely persistent or, most likely, stubborn. When Itachi mentioned the quiet and calm Uzumaki Sasuke, he only chuckled. Well, this Sharinganist already knows exactly what his friend is like. Interesting. Later that evening, Naruto sat on the head of the fourth Hokage on a mountain with the faces of the world's greatest shinobi. The night Konoha lay before his eyes, captivating with its beauty. Uzumaki sensed every shinobi of the village who was now within range of his sensory abilities. He felt his mother's chakra, so warm, but at the same time burning, mixed with the chakra of the Nine Tails, father's chakra, a little cold. To be honest, Itachi's chakra flickered somewhere, calm and warm. He felt the chakra of all his classmates from the academy, which caused considerable pain. And, to be honest, he was bored. He missed that world where his friends, although not all of them, were nearby. They were family and so close that now I feel empty inside. So aching, just like when I was a child. Unpleasant. Naruto remembered all the moments associated with that Konoha that was in the distant past, that was in another world. And there were very, very many of them. Both bad and good. Naruto remembered everyone: Neji, who died in the war, his sister Hinata, who always loved him, Naruto Uzumaki, Shikamaru, a close friend and assistant in any situation, Sakura, who could put brains in place with her fists, Kiba, Shino, Rock Lee, Ino with their own oddities, but so kind and cheerful, Iruka, Kakashi, Yamato, Tsunade Bachan, Ero-sanin, the teachers who taught him everything. Each of them left an imprint on his soul and in his memory. He replayed all the moments in his head and realized that it was all in the past. It was a different life. Naruto will never forget everything he went through, but... How did you find me, Sasuke? Uzumaki smiled through his tears when his best friend sat down next to him. Shoulder to shoulder, as always. I know you better than you know yourself. The Uchiha repeated his phrase. And I will feel you everywhere, as well as your state of mind. And I understand you, Naruto, and I know how hard it is for you now. But that's what best friends are for, to help in difficult times, right? For the first time in my life I agree with the Uchiha, Kyuubi growled in his head. But I didn't say that. I'm letting go of my past, but I will always remember. Naruto said quietly. Everything that was there remains there. We have a new life, Uzumaki, and we need to live it the way we would like. With your loved ones and family. With those who were not with us before. You are right. Now I am Namake's Naruto, daughter of the fourth Hokage, Jinchuriki, of the nine-tailed demon fox. And I will be the same in the future. Konoha lies ahead, and my soul is lighter than it has been for a long time. I will make sure that they recognize me, as I did once before. I will change my opinion about myself, Sasuke. And I will protect those whom I could not protect there. I know, Naruto. And I will help you. Then I was not with you in difficult moments, but now I am here. And I'm not going anywhere. I made too many mistakes in my past life. I must atone for my guilt before the clan, before my brother, and before you. You owe me nothing. Naruto sniffled, although he perfectly understood that the Uchiha would not back down. Must. Sasuke just said. I owe you a lot, as well as my brother. You have always protected and straightened my mind, so in this life I will return the favor. And he nodded, as if confirming his words. But then he grinned and said, although I'm still not sure you have anything to straighten out. As a matter of course, Uzumaki said. Agree. What do you think will happen in this world? We don't know the whole situation yet, but... Akatsuki, Danzo, Orochimaru, and the rest of the company of villains, Are they here? What are they? I don't know, Naruto. But we must become stronger so that no one can destroy the future. Naruto smiled at these words, wiped away his already drying tears, and looked at Sasuke. We will change the world, Databeo. As always. Stupid two-legged creatures, Kurama growled, sensing something big. Naruto was sitting in her room reading scrolls when she heard some noise downstairs. And she immediately felt two all too familiar chakras located in her house, just like their owners. But what are they doing in her house on a day off? Although, after rummaging through her memory, Naruto remembered that her mother, Kushina, is friends with Mikoto, the mother of Sasuke and Itachi, therefore, these two now came with their mother. Expanding her sensory abilities, Naruto picked up traces of two more unfamiliar chakra sources in the house. The entire Uchiha family must have come. If Naruto could use Fox's chakra now, she would channel it into her ears so that her hearing would become sharper and she would be able to hear the conversation below. But, since her chakra channels are not yet ready for this, she had to pull herself together and go down to the guests. In the end, Naruto gradually emerges from the image of that reclusive girl that the previous owner of the body was. If she had her way, she would have thrown off this mask long ago, but, mentally understanding that this would cause a lot of suspicion and many questions, Naruto decided not to take risks and do everything gradually. Now she decided to go down to the guests and just say hello. For the past month and a half, Naruto has been training with the Uchiha brothers under the guidance of the eldest of them. Kurama recently informed her that her chakra channels were ready for ninjutsu training. On the same day, Naruto and Sasuke determined their elements. The Jinchuriki had wind, fire, and a third was also discovered water. Itachi then said that it is very rare when at that age 3 elements manifest themselves at once. Not the last Uchiha had fire and lightning. There was absolutely nothing surprising here. Itachi immediately began training the two to use the element of fire, and Uzumaki brought scrolls about wind techniques, where a decent number of techniques were described. In that world, Naruto tried for a very long time to find at least some description of the techniques of her main element, but failed. The only strong shinobi she knew who used wind techniques were Danzo, who had long since passed away, and Temari, Gaara's sister. The latter used a fan for her techniques, which was no longer suitable for the future kunoichi, as well as Asuma, who, like the head of the root, died. And then Itachi brought several scrolls, which was heaven for Naruto. She sent several clones to read this magnificence, and she herself began to study the Katon. We decided not to take on the Suiton for now. After all, it is the weakest of her elements. Itachi-kun, you've grown so much. She heard her mother's voice. The girl grinned to herself, knowing how these two brothers felt about suffixes. And Naruto herself doesn't like them, to be honest. Thank you, Kushina-san. And again, a strained smile can be heard in the voice, which no one will notice, except perhaps Uzumaki herself and his brother. The guests, along with the Namikaze family, were sitting in the living room, where Naruto looked. Thank Kami, Itachi and Sasuke saw her first, so with a look she asked not to give her away. Although, she knew very well that the Uchiha would not be extradited. It's not that she opened up much to the eldest of her brothers, but still, spending a lot of time with him, Uzumaki slowly took off her recluse mask in front of him. She behaved more openly with him than with her family. She could ask for advice or support the brothers' conversation. True, she supported this conversation with several phrases, but this is progress, as Itachi-kun decided to himself. Is this Naruto-chan? Mikoto Uchiha exclaimed too cheerfully. Her entire family, as if on command, shuddered and turned their heads in her direction. Fugaku sent an interested look, but that was all. Itachi and Sasuke, it's immediately clear that they are brothers. They smiled at only the corners of their lips so that no one would notice. And Naruto herself, like her predecessor, shuddered and looked at the woman in fear. Hello, Mikoto-san, Fugaku-san, Itachi-san, Sasuke-kun. The Jinchuriki quickly killed the desire to sing that notorious kun, as she usually likes to tease her best friend in private. And Uzumaki is ready to bet that the Uchiha will remember this to her. There was a rather unkind smile on his lips. And everything has been fine with her analysis for a long time. At this greeting, Mikoto smiled joyfully, Fugaku nodded his head, Itachi smiled, and Sasuke, well, Sasuke is Sasuke. Everything is clear here. And the relatives pursed their lips in unison. You've grown so much, Naruto-chan. Now she clearly understands what Itachi was experiencing. She didn't respond to this statement, she just walked around the corner a little. You and Sasuke are in the same class, right? You'll be distributed soon too. Maybe you'll end up on the same team. Mikoto continued to broadcast. Hello Naruto-chan. Sasuke mockingly responded to her greeting. I'll kill you, Databeo. Naruto mentally promised herself. If there is anything, please contact me, Kurama, who is always for any fuss regarding the killing or beating of the Uchiha, contributed. I will go. Naruto said very quietly and turned around to go to her room. That's enough for today. She fulfilled the norm of politeness. Sasuke, go with Naruto. You have something to discuss. She nudged the sneezing Mikoto. Sasuke, for show, muttered something, looked at the girl's back with a cold gaze, but went on. After all, they actually have a lot to talk about. Entering the room, Naruto immediately set up a sound barrier so that no one could hear their conversation. In this house, she could only trust Sasuke and Itachi, so it was better to be safe. You never know who will want to eavesdrop. Although, Naruto is more than sure that now her family is thinking about how to save poor Sasuke from the hands of the nine-tailed demon. At least they are sure that Uzumaki will not talk. I'll kill you now for your chan. Uzumaki hissed through her teeth. This is for your Kuin. Her best friend answered. If I just called you by your name, it would be strange. Naruto snorted. You could have ignored me. But I had to return the greeting. It would be rude. The respected Uchiha quipped in response, suddenly remembering politeness. Themes. Dobe. I'll kill you, Databeo. The young Jinchuriki hissed. I won't give in. If they weren't at home, they would have sparred, but they just sat on the bed of the occupant of the room, where there was a bunch of scrolls. Be that as it may, her parents and brother do not enter her den, so she was not afraid of getting burned. What to do with the exam? It's clear to me, I'm the best student in the class, so I don't need to cover up my abilities, but you. I'll give the written test a solid satisfactory, then there will be one of the techniques, and I'm more than sure that I'll come across illusory clones. I'll make one shadow one and that'll be enough. Next will be throwing kunai and shuriken, no problem there. Namikaze always passed it well, so nothing surprising will happen. Uzumaki described her plan, and Sasuke nodded with satisfaction. How are you with the Rasengan? Have you started to master it? The Uchiha asked an interesting question. Yes, Kurama said that it is already possible, so yesterday I completed the first stage. Today I started mastering the second one, but it is more difficult. That time it took me several weeks to complete it. And sighed heavily. However, her favorite Rasengan is not yet available to her. This is absolutely terrible. As she once lamented about this to Sasuke, he still shudders in horror. In response, however, she listened to a long tirade about her favorite Chidori. So each one blew the other's minds, and that's what they decided on. Nisan is leaving for a mission tomorrow, so there won't be any training for a few weeks. Sasuke warned. We won't have time for them. We have an exam, distribution, and then D-rank missions. Naruto just hoped that they would end up on the same team. Everything is just favorable for this. She is the poorly developed daughter of the Hokage, he is the best student in the graduating class. Balance. Everything just screams that they will be on the same team. But there is still one factor, Naruto is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and Sasuke is from the Uchiha clan, from the clan that can control the demon. Consequently, Sasuke can be placed closer to the Hokage's daughter, so that if something happens, he can pacify the raging beast. Although, if Kurama goes on a rampage, no Sasuke will help. Not with Tsutomu for sure. Have a fun life, Databeo. That's for sure. Sitting in a stuffy classroom and waiting for her sensei, Naruto had already cursed everyone and everything several times, then went around the second and third circle. Kurama was internally amazed at the Jinchuriki's vocabulary, and the girl herself sent him to. In the end, how much is possible? He and his team have been sitting here for 3 hours, Kami-sama. Naruto thought that at least in this world Kakashi-sensei would not be late, but apparently the Jounin had sinned somewhere, since he was given such a bad habit. In all worlds. Or did Naruto do something, since for the second time she is awarded this misunderstanding in the form of a sensei, who is also one of the best Konoha shinobi and her father's student. Just recently, Naruto learned that Obito Uchiha in this world had died. And then he really died, and did not join Madara or anyone else. The story of his death is the same as in the other world. The only difference was that Kakashi, Rin, and Minato, who arrived in time, were able to pull the boy's body out from under the rubble, but due to 2 serious injuries, they could not save Obito. So the boy's body, after several examinations confirming his identity, was buried in the cemetery. And Rin still managed to transplant Kakashi's Sharingan before Minato-sensei arrived, so here too the future sensei of team number 7 is known all over the world. Naruto also found out that Rin, the same Rin Noara, is now Hatake, that is, Kakashi's wife. She works at Konoha Hospital and is one of the village's top ironin. It was unexpected. Well, the very fact that Kakashi has a wife completely took away Naruto's perception of the world for a good few hours. Uzumaki learned all this information from Kurama, and Kurama himself from the memory of the 9 tales of this world. As Naruto and Sasuke expected, they were assigned to the same team. Moreover, Team 7 consisted of the same members as in the other world. Sakura Haruno, who passed all theory with excellent marks and good practice, Naruto Uzumaki, who passed the theory worst of all in the class, and the practice with a solid good, and Sasuke Uchiha, who, not surprisingly, passed everything with excellent marks. You should have seen Iruka-sensei's face when Naruto easily created a clone, and a shadow one at that. Uzumaki will remember this moment for the rest of his life. The next day after receiving the protectors, we were assigned to teams. Naruto and Sasuke sat together as they had for the past few months. The pink-haired carcass of Haruno landed next to them, who first looked angrily at her mane, after Ino, rival, and she was not at all embarrassed that Sasuke and Naruto didn't even talk in class, and then with hearts in her eyes she looked at the favorite of the entire academy. Well, nothing has changed here, Uzumaki thought. When Iruka announced the list of members of the 7th team, Naruto and Sasuke high-fived each other under the table so that no one would notice, and Sakura, with a squeal that deafened everyone within a radius of several kilometers, even the birds flew away from the trees, rose from her seat and raised her hands up in a victorious gesture. "Take it, Ino pork." Then she screamed so loudly that even the windows shook. Naruto mentally facepalmed, Sasuke sighed heavily and rolled his eyes. "I wanted the former composition of my team myself," the fox maiden sighed. "I already regret it," Naruto answered him then, imagining how many problems there would be with Sakura. "Let's get acquainted." Kakashi-sensei notified everyone when he finally bothered to show up to his genin 4 hours later. As if nothing had happened, he entered the classroom, examined the students, with a most serious face declared that "I don't like you," and told them to go to the roof. And then it turned out that it was his clone, which surprised neither Naruto nor Sasuke. The original, however, met his new headache with a pedodism in his eye, as the rest of his face was hidden by a mask. Then Sakura came at him, but, not finding a response from her teammates, she fell silent. "Tell us about yourself. What you like, what you don't like. Your dreams and goals. Set an example, sensei." Haruno raised her voice again. Naruto, like her image, sat with her head down, listening to all this for the second time. And Sasuke sighed next to him. "You know my name. What I love you don't need to know, what I don't like doesn't apply to you, my dreams and goals are uninteresting. In the end, he didn't say anything. Sakura muttered quietly. What followed was her fiery speech about the fact that she loves Sasuke, dreams of Sasuke, her goal is Sasuke, which, however, was accompanied by gasps and sighs towards the latter. And I hate Naruto. Of course, because she is taking her, Sasuke-kun, away. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. What I love, whoever needs it knows, what I don't like shouldn't interest you, my dreams and goals do not apply to you. The Uchiha briefly and clearly expressed all his contempt. And he said this in such a tone that Sakura involuntarily shuddered, and Kakashi chuckled nervously under his mask. In short, he spoke as usual. My name is Namikaze Naruto. The Jinchuriki spoke quietly but confidently, albeit with her head bowed. Kakashi looked at his teacher's daughter with interest. I love many things, but I don't like betrayal, loneliness, and fear. My goal is to be a strong kunoichi. And the dream? What is your dream? Kakashi asked. I want to be loved. Naruto answered very, very quietly, without lying a word. Kakashi looked at his student in surprise, who looked back at him. In her eyes, he saw something that made him flinch, but understand her. And believe her words. For the second day in a row, Naruto and Sasuke felt a sense of déjà vu. First getting to know Kakashi-sensei, all his words and gestures, now this is an idiotic test of teamwork with bells. And for Naruto, the morning actually started out extremely strange and unusual. She got up as usual with the alarm clock, suppressing the desire to throw it at the wall, went to the shower, washed herself, cleaned herself up and went downstairs. Kushina was still circling in the kitchen, her father and brother were talking, so Naruto was not puzzled by this. As soon as she wanted to wish good morning to her family, Kushina beat her to it, which put the stronger half of the family into culture shock, although the former Jinchuriki could easily compete with them. Good morning, Naruto. Kaa-chan said very quietly then, but everyone heard her. The young Uzumaki herself shuddered, quite naturally. Yet during those few months of being in this world, Kushina spoke to her daughter for the first time. And, judging by memory, Naruto here could not boast of communicating with her family. The last time her mother wished her good morning was 4 years ago. Good morning. The girl answered quietly and sat down at the table, where breakfast was already waiting for her. No one spoke anymore, the family ate their food in silence, and everyone ran off to do their own thing. Arriving at the training ground, Naruto saw her teammates had already arrived. Sakura fluttered like an overgrown butterfly around the object of her adoration, and Sasuke sat silently under a tree with his eyes closed. Apparently he was either asleep or simply lost in thought. Judging by his reaction to her arrival, and Sasuke slightly opened one eye, apparently he felt that the second option was more suitable. Naruto, not paying attention to the pink-haired one, walked to the tree next to the Uchiha and sat under it, plunging into her subconscious towards kurama. Kakashi still didn't have to wait another 2 or 3 hours. Hatake came, without betraying himself, 3.5 hours later and, after listening to Haruno's tirade, began to intimidate the students. More precisely, to intimidate the same Sakura, because the Uchiha and Uzumaki were not at all intimidated by this. You have until noon, Kakashi said. The genin disappeared into the forest within a second, and their sensei chuckled with satisfaction. Naruto and Sasuke immediately found each other, and, deciding that they would only pass the test together with Sakura, they went to look for her. After all, they had no chance against Kakashi now, not with such preparation, so the best friends decided to show him teamwork. Haruno was found quite quickly, not far from where Kakashi stood. Calling the girl in a whisper deep into the forest, the team moved away from the jounin. Having gone a sufficient distance, the seventh began to discuss the plan of action. Kakashi stood in the middle of the clearing, waiting for his future students to finally take action. More than an hour had passed and neither of them had made any attempt to attack him. Well, this gives some hope. At the very least, Haruno and Uchiha definitely had to come up with something, but Kakashi wasn't so sure about Namake's Naruto. After reading personal files, Hatake drew certain conclusions about his team. And, to be honest, he was disappointed to learn that his respected sensei had such a weak daughter. Not only was she unsociable and withdrawn, but she also wrote all tests no higher than satisfactory, which led to certain conclusions. The only thing that surprised him was her mastery of the shadow cloning technique. But, quickly remembering that Minato also owned it, he came to the conclusion that it was the sensei who taught her it. In general, Kakashi was puzzled by the fact that Naruto was placed on his team. Personally, in his opinion, Namake's would be better suited to team with Kurenai. There a woman could find an approach to such a strange person. Then he remembered that Naruto was, in fact, a Jinchuriki, which meant that she needed special control. And who can the Hokage entrust such a task to, if not his own student? Moreover, there was an Uchiha on the team. This changes things significantly. Lost in thought, Kakashi almost missed his student's attack. He dodged the Uchiha's fireball attack at the last moment, but immediately came under fire from kunai. Naruto and Sakura jointly threw weapons at him, while Sasuke engaged him in close combat, using his Sharingan with Tsutomu. And, as sad as it was to admit it, they took him by surprise. And the Uchiha was well prepared. He lasted 3 whole minutes in a fight against an experienced jounin. And all this time, kunai were flying at him from the girls. After waiting a moment, Kakashi left the genin as a replacement, leaving them alone. Naruto ran into the center of the clearing, running up to Sasuke, who was catching his breath after a long fight with his sensei. Where is he? Naruto's intuition simply screamed that their sensei had not gone far. After scanning the area, she was convinced of her suspicions. Showing the team with her eyes that their sensei was underground, Naruto began to gather chakra into her fist. This ability was passed on to her from her former owner, although before, in another world, Naruto had not used this method in the fight against enemies. Sasuke, realizing his friend's idea, ran to the side and took Haruno with him. Uzumaki, when the rest of the team was at a sufficient distance, hit the ground with her fist, where, according to her information, the sensei was sitting. Under the onslaught of such force, the ground underfoot began to crack and split apart, revealing to the world an extremely surprised Hatake. When Kakashi's head appeared from the ground, Sasuke hit him with a fireball, which Naruto seasoned with an air wave. "Your mother, Kakashi," flashed through his head when he saw this fiery something flying at him. Having escaped the ball with a replacement technique, Hatake landed not far from Sasuke, who wasted no time in firing fire bullets at him. Immediately behind him, Naruto launched bullets, only this time out of thin air, and Sakura began throwing kunai at him. He had to open his Sharingan to dodge all the techniques at once. Just as all the kunai were deflected and the bullets flew past him, the bell rang, signaling the end of the test. Yes, Kakashi didn't think that he would have to use dojutsu against these genin. And he was especially surprised by Naruto, who was able to not only break the ground, but also use some techniques. "Time's up, but you still haven't gotten the bells. What will you do?" Hatake said, glaring at his students. They didn't say anything, apparently they were waiting for Kakashi's decision. Naruto lowered her head again, Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and looked at him with an extremely displeased look, and Sakura twirled her hair on her finger. "I admit, I was surprised. You worked as a team, therefore you passed this test. After all, the most important thing in the life of a shinobi is his comrades. Tomorrow I will be waiting for you near the Hokage residence at 9 in the morning. Don't be late." And he left as a shunshin. Well, Kakashi Hatake thought, these kids know how to surprise. "Report, Kakashi." Minato ordered when the jounin first appeared in his office. "How did the test go for the 7th team?" "Hokage-sama, may I leave?" Another jounin spoke up, whom Kakashi had not noticed before. "Go, Itachi." Minato nodded. The Uchiha, who had returned from a rank A mission a week earlier, bowed and was about to leave, but was stopped by the same Minato. Although, you're interested in hearing about the result of the test for your brother's team? If possible, Hokage-sama. Namikaze nodded, and then turned his gaze to his student. He cleared his throat and began his story. They passed the test. Kakashi was immediately taken aback. I was surprised, to be honest. An hour after the start, they launched a joint attack. Sasuke attacked me with a fireball, and Naruto and Sakura threw kunai at me. Then the Uchiha engaged me in taijutsu and held out in battle for several minutes. He also has a Sharingan with two tomo. Then I went underground using the replacement technique, but Namikaze smashed it with her fist, thereby revealing me. At these words, Minato's eyes almost fell out of their sockets. Then Sasuke attacked me with a fireball, and Naruto added the element of wind to this technique, inflating it to enormous sizes. I had no choice but to leave as a replacement. Before I had time to catch my breath, Sasuke began throwing fire bullets at me, and air bullets at Naruto. Sakura added kunai. I had to open my Sharingan to escape all the attacks at once. This completes the test. What are your conclusions? The Hokage croaked. He was greatly impressed by the story. A well-coordinated fighting duo of Uchiha Namikaze and, I think, Sakura Haruno could go to the Irionen. She was of little use on the battlefield, but she had excellent control. This way we get a melee command. Moreover, if the students' talents are properly developed, their team will be very strong. Kakashi was dumbfounded again. Opinion about the students based on what they saw? Sakura is a rather flighty and indecisive girl, but as I said, she has amazing chakra control and is quite smart, as stated in her dossier. If you direct it along the right path, then good will come of it. I think she's going straight to the arena. But we still need to watch. This is based on data from the academy and my assumption, since she did not use any techniques. Sasuke is collected in battle, decisive and strong for his age. He is a very smart boy. I want to note, he knows fire techniques, and taijutsu is at the highest level. I can assume that these are not all his skills. Itachi smiled imperceptibly and nodded, as if confirming Kakashi's words. What can I say about Naruto? At these words, Minato involuntarily shuddered, but continued to listen. Can I speak honestly, sensei? And having received a nod, he continued. The girl is quite strange in everyday life, but when the test began, it was as if she had been replaced. She was collected and determined, which completely does not correspond to her description from the academy. Naruto has good control and is quite smart and intelligent. I bet she was the one who found me underground. She masters the element of wind. And, to be honest, she will make a very strong kunoichi. Are you sure about Naruto? No matter what she is like in everyday life, in battle she becomes a completely different person. I saw in her the strength that a kunoichi needs. I don't know how her life will turn out in the future, but now I can say with complete confidence that she will cope. Minato bit his lip and Itachi smirked. Still, he didn't doubt this girl. Nissan? Sasuke was surprised at his brother when he saw him sitting in the kitchen of the house and drinking tea. After the day's test, the friends went home, but agreed to meet in the evening to continue their training. But Sasuke didn't think that his older brother had already returned from his mission, which he said was supposed to last 2 weeks. In fact, he was supposed to return only in a week, if not more. Ototo. His brother nodded in response. I finished the mission early. I wanted to make it before your exam with Naruto, but it didn't work out. Itachi smiled slightly. How was the mission? The Uchiha changed the topic, sitting down opposite the elder. He took a sip of tea and closed his eyes, thereby expressing all his love for this drink. For as long as Sasuke could remember, the Itachi of this world loved tea very much. He could often be seen with a cup of this drink in the kitchen, and then it seemed that Nissan needed nothing more than this. He seemed so peaceful that you involuntarily begin to smile. Everything is fine. Standard mission, nothing unusual. Itachi answered briefly and to the point. Congratulations on passing the exam, Sasuke. I've already heard about your and Naruto's successes. Kakashi-san described your ordeal in great detail. He said that you surprised him very much, and it is very difficult to surprise this person. But I suspect that you and Naruto didn't show everything. Sasuke eloquently expressed his opinion on this matter. And he was not surprised that their sensei immediately reported about their test to the Hokage. And the Uchiha was simply sure that Itachi heard about it there. Thank you, Nai-san. You don't need to show us everything. Let something remain a secret. Just between us, Itachi and I. Ototo said conspiratorially, causing Nisan to grin. And, really, why does everyone need to know everything? How did you become friends with Naruto? The elder asked a question that interested him. Sasuke at first, unable to contain his surprise, looked at his brother with a raised eyebrow. And then he grinned. Someday I'll tell you about this. Are you in love with her? Sasuke involuntarily imagined himself and Naruto as a couple, and his inner world shuddered from this. No, never, in any life, will Sasuke Uchiha meet Naruto Uzumaki. Even in his female form. Better than Sakura, seriously. No, despite his internal convulsions, Sasuke answered more than calmly, absolutely not. She and I have a training session in the evening, we didn't think you'd be back so early. The younger one changed the topic again. I think it's best for you to rest today. You're just back from a mission. Nisan, you're tired. There is no need to waste your energy on us either. Nothing bad will happen if you rest a little. I don't even remember the last time you slept well. You're either on missions or with us. To Itachi's surprise, his stupid little brother said seriously. Because of this, a warmth appeared in his chest, which warms his soul and heart. Unable to resist, he reached out his hand to Sasuke's forehead and flicked it with 2 fingers. At this gesture, the younger Uchiha froze and looked at his brother with widened eyes. You haven't done that to me for a long time, Nai-san. As Sasuke remembered, Itachi really hadn't done this to his younger brother for a very long time. Since the age of 8. It was at this time that the brothers began to move away from each other. Sasuke had anger and envy inside him towards his elder, and he had constant orders from his father and missions with the team. Itachi had already become a chunin and would soon be given a jounin, so the workload was enormous. And you never liked it, Otuto. And now it's annoying. Naruto was training at the training ground when Sasuke arrived. The girl was just practicing the second stage of the Rasengan, but so far there had been no success. Still, even though she has all the knowledge necessary to master this technique, the chakra is completely unwilling to do it as needed. Kurama said that this is due to the fact that Naruto here has never practiced ninjutsu, so now she has to suffer. Although control plays a huge role here, be that as it may, Naruto has always had a problem with it. Even though thanks to training he became much better, but not perfect. This greatly infuriated and irritated the young kunoichi. In the end, her favorite technique, which has saved the lives of many people more than once, is now not given to her. Where has this ever been seen? Holding a rubber ball in her hands, Naruto recalled training with the perverted hermit, searching through the bins of her memory for moments of mastering the Rasengan. Sasuke, who caught his girlfriend doing this, stood next to her and also looked at the ball. Nostalgia? He chuckled. Sometimes it comes. Having created several dozen clones, Naruto sent them to master the second stage. It's good that she recently bought all the balls in stores in order to teach this magnificent creation of the 4th Hokage. How are you with Genjutsu? I can cast a weak illusion, I can easily track several enemies at once, but that's all for now. When the 3rd Tomo appears, it will be possible to begin mastering more complex illusions and more active training. The sneezing one shared his grief. And Chidori? No better than your Rasengan. And he sighed heavily. Okay, let's do some sparring. Naruto didn't answer, but just walked out to the center of the clearing. Sasuke, activating his Sharingan with two Tomo, followed her. As soon as the friends stood up, they immediately rushed towards each other. It's good that Naruto always puts a barrier over the training ground before starting training. Otherwise they would have been burned long ago. Sasuke, having avoided a direct attack, attacked his friend from the left side, but she deftly placed a block, dodged in the air, and landed in the place where the Uchiha had previously stood. Naruto formed the seals and blew out a fist-sized fireball, and then added the element of wind to it with the help of a clone, which she summoned immediately after landing. The Uchiha did not remain in debt and, dodging the technique, sent his own. A giant fireball flew towards Uzumaki, but was stopped by a wall that she put up using Fuinjutsu. This wall absorbs all the chakra invested in the technique, and then transfers it to the shinobi who put the seal. Its disadvantage is that it does not completely surround the fighter. Only on one side. Naruto ran towards her friend, forming the seal of her favorite technique. Immediately, two clones appeared next to her. The three surrounded the Uchiha on three sides, attacking with pure taijutsu, but thanks to his Sharingan, he dodged all attacks and blows. Jump up, and Sasuke throws three kunai towards his opponent. The clones, not having time to dodge, scattered, and Naruto escaped with the replacement technique that Kakashi so kindly showed during the test. As soon as Naruto was in place of the log, Sasuke fired at her with fire bullets, which were also blocked by Fuinjutsu. Next came kunai with exploding seals. The shelling took place at incredible speed, so Naruto did not have time to escape and an explosion occurred. Sasuke looked around with particular wariness, realizing that his friend could not lose so easily. Having caught some movement with the Sharingan, its owner turned in that direction and was immediately attacked by pure taijutsu from the Uzumaki. Apparently there was a clone there. Friends merged in battle at great speed. Nevertheless, training brings certain benefits that appear precisely at such moments. Having missed a kick, Naruto flew several meters forward, but, turning over in the air, landed on her feet, immediately receiving an electric discharge from Sasuke, who had already managed to move towards her. She shuddered, but was not incapacitated, so she was able to repel the next attack and even respond with an airstream that knocked the Uchiha off her feet. As soon as his body touched the ground, he dissipated, and the original put a kunai to Naruto's throat. I won. Sasuke grinned, deactivating his Sharingan. Just this time. The Uchiha lowered the kunai, and Uzumaki turned to face him. Your chakra is running out, just like mine. If I hadn't created clones before, you would have lost. Still, I have more chakra. The girl grinned. You never know when you will be attacked. In this situation I won. Okay, I agree. But next time, Uzumaki said meaningfully. And, finally exhaling, the friends sat down under the nearest tree. Still, these sparring sessions are terribly exhausting. And Naruto still has to dispel the clones. I suggest you rest today and not train anymore. Still, the fight with Kakashi and Uchiha exhausted you. Dispel the clones and go home. Kurama growled in his head. If you say so. That's exactly what I say. By the way, Itachi returned from the mission earlier. I sent him to rest today, but he promised to spar with each of us tomorrow. Sasuke notified his girlfriend. Oh, this will be interesting, Databeo. I fought Itachi in that world, and it was very entertaining. Although Kakashi said to come to the residence at 9 in the morning, he was a full hour and a half late. As usual. Sakura was ready to attack the sensei with her fists, and Sasuke and Naruto didn't even want to stop her. His tardiness had pissed me off before, and it still pisses me off now. Even the always indifferent Uchiha Sasuke. And he was not only ready to let Sakura beat Hatake, although he perfectly understood that this would not bring him harm, but he himself would have charged him with something powerful. The only thing that stopped him was his self-esteem. And the absence so far of this something powerful in the arsenal. And no, he could have arrived an hour later, but Sasuke did not want to listen to Naruto's lamentations that You see, the Uchiha, was so bad, leaving his best friend alone with the pink-haired monster. And Uzumaki could not come later for one simple reason: if she had done so, then all the efforts to remove the mask would have come to a total end. In the end, all three genin waited for their respected sensei for a little over an hour when he finally decided to show up. Sorry, a black cat crossed the road. I had to go around. He explained his lateness, scratching the back of his head, which made Sakura even more furious. But I took us missions. Is it true? What's there? Haruno immediately calmed down. True, now her eyes glowed not with demonic fire, but with unprecedented enthusiasm. It's scary, thought the great and powerful copy ninja of Konoha. We have to walk the dogs of the Inuzuka clan and weed the garden. The jounin said with a smile that even through the mask looked like a grin, causing the pink-haired woman to wince, and Sasuke and Naruto to sigh heavily. Again. Synchronously flashed through the heads of travelers through time and space. Kurama smirked in his subconscious, feeling in his gut the future suffering of his most beloved Uchiha. The fact that his Jinchuriki would suffer did not bother him at all. And what? Uzumaki is strong. Uzumaki can handle it. And seeing the red-eyed man's dissatisfied face is like a balm for the soul. Of course, it would be better to see him covered in blood, giving up his last breath. He was even ready to help, but Naruto certainly wouldn't appreciate it. Therefore, you have to enjoy the little things, watching through Uzumaki Sasuke's attempts to gather all the dogs of the dog lovers clan into a heap. I hate dogs. Sakura muttered while they were weeding the garden of some old grandmother. I hate vegetable gardens. Hate my life. She didn't let up. That's right, because these creatures managed to drive the kunoichi so hard that she didn't even want to live, let alone continue the mission. These dogs were so strong that it seemed as if they were walking Haruno, and not she. They pulled on the leashes, tangled them, and broke out of Sakura's hands. At the end of the task, she was ready to go into the sewer, just to no longer see these creatures of demons. Sakura, D-rank missions develop your teamwork, as well as patience and endurance. Kakashi said instructively, which caused even more dissatisfaction on the part of one of the students. He himself, after all, did not in any way help the 7th team complete their missions. Naruto and Sasuke slowly began to boil while Haruno was spraying. And only thanks to their images they remained outwardly calm and unperturbed, so that the sensei did not even have any suspicions. Especially about Naruto, because she, like a puppet doll, carried out all the tasks and assignments. However, what did it cost her? Kurama was still amazed at his Jinchuriki and her vocabulary, which throughout the entire dog-walking mission cursed everyone under the sun, because I'm ANBU captain, Databeo, why do I have to bother with these flea-filled creatures? The fact that the dogs of the Inuzuka clan never had fleas did not bother her. That's it, we're done. Notified Sasuke when he pulled out the last weed. Naruto, like Sakura, also finished weeding their plots and looked at their teacher point blank. Yeah, well done. Kakashi praised his team without even checking the work done. We need to receive the reward from the Hokage, so we go straight to him. How was the first mission? Kushina asked her daughter from the doorway, which put her into a slight stupor. For the second day in a row, her mother greeted her first, which is undoubtedly progress. However, for someone from her family to inquire about her progress? It seems that something huge has died in the forest. Naruto, without leaving the image, looked in fear at her mother, or rather her back, because the former Jinchuriki was again preparing something. Seriously, she spends all her time in the kitchen? However, Kushina didn't say anything else. Apparently, she was waiting for an answer from her daughter. There was no one else at home, so this time no one looked at this scene in surprise or fear. Which made it a little easier. Father, as usual, is at the residence. Naruto was with him literally half an hour ago. To be honest, Namikaze Sr. didn't even look at his daughter. He simply looked around the team, listened to Kakashi's report and gave the order to release the money. Akira, as the Uzumaki knew, had left early in the morning on a 3-week mission along with several jounin and a couple of chunin. She heard Kaa-chan seeing her brother off before Naruto came downstairs for breakfast. "It's okay, Kaa-chan." That's all Uzumaki said, and her mother only nodded in response. "Kurama, what the dot who?"